talk about too much. Obviously, anything you don't want to talk about, we won't. But like, what was that process like with McAfee? Was he
with leaving us?
No.
Yeah.
Like coming to the Barstool.
Yeah.
Well, like
McAfee's awesome. It's so funny. I had a call with Twitch yesterday, and the Twitch people are like, "You may be aware of Pat McAfee," and I was like,
yeah,
but McAfee was like you guys. He's just a huge talent. Like his personality was so big on the field. He was so great at Twitter. He just was. And then I don't know if you've ever seen him in person at a live show. Like his energy is electric. Like he brings it in a way that very few people do. Really different than a Dave or a Big Cat. Like he projects so much and so well. So he was a big get for us. I mean, he was one of the first athletes that outside of Whitney, but he was one of the first athletes we had brought on.
Mm-hmm.
He was making the transition from, obviously playing to, his media life. I think he learned a lot. We taught him a lot.
Yeah, Dave taught him how to bet, right? That was a whole thing for a while.
Really.
Even in business too.
Business, betting, distribution, we built him an office. We hired, we built him a whole world, which, was a really good, we learned a lot. He learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. But when he started doing you guys teaching him a bunch of business stuff, was he like super eager to learn that stuff?
Yes.
Was he like, teach me?
Aggressive. Yep.
Yeah. Very aggressive about it.
Yep.
And looking back on it, if you look at it in hindsight, everything where you're like, okay, his whole plan was to do his own thing.
Definitely.
The whole time.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And does that make you feel sour at all?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it was mutually beneficial for, could it have gone on longer?
Yeah.
Yes. Would I have had him leave differently? Definitely. But did he learn a lot? Did we learn a lot? Did we get a lot of value? He got a lot of value, 100%.
Right.
And I'm so happy for him. Like, I truly think he's crushing it.
Yeah, well, that FanDuel contract he signed
insane.
was unbelievable. But I saw a thing that Dave was talking about that there was at one point FanDuel could have had Barstool and Pat McAfee for around similar numbers.
Correct.
Which is wild.
Which is insane. I mean, Dave and I had talked to FanDuel about $150 million price tag for Barstool, which in hindsight is crazy.
Yeah.
/ dumb, but.
Well, it's all dumb.
Yeah.
Like this whole concept that you guys are doing, that we're doing, we talk about all the time how incredible it is that people just want to listen to us.
But it's the future. I think it's so interesting. Like, yeah, it's so crazy stupid, but then you look at traditional media and you're like, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Like,
no doubt. I 100% agree with that.
I stream like YouTube TV or apps like Netflix and
What do you watch? You watch sports?
It's mainly for sports.
Yeah.
Mainly for sports. And if not, it's usually like background noise. So like, 2.5 Men.
Oh, okay.
No, not news.
Seinfeld.
Never. My news is on Twitter.
Okay.
But 2.5 Men, Family Guy.
Like a comedy guy.
Yeah. If I'm playing it as background noise.
I think.
Yeah. But
is Missouri Midwest?
Yeah.
I think Missouri's.
Is it?
Definitely.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. It's kind of like in the middle. It might just be the mid.
Well, some people like to play until you like to be Southern, and they'll fake their accents.
You're kind of in the middle there, aren't you?
Yeah, you can kind of pick your own personality.
Right.
Do you love Missouri?
Yeah, of course. It's where I grew up.
You're going to go back?
To live? No.
Yeah.
I don't love it like that. I think I just appreciate where I grew up.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
You grow up in a small town. I go back and you look at it and you're like, I can't believe I fucking...
Yeah.
I'm at where I'm at now growing up from here.
Yep.
But I think...
Half of our audience right now is like, fuck this guy.
I mean, there's like 3,000 people in Bonne Terre. But yeah, I love Missouri in a way that I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like just my upbringing and everything else.
Don't you guys think you're similar to the McAfee thing? Like, this is tuition for you, I think.
Similar in what way?
I never paid tuition. What does that mean?
I think that it's an education. Like you get audience from Barstool Sports. You're learning how to publish video, social, audio. You're making good money from it. You're learning how, you're thinking about how do you build a bigger world around the bus and the brand. Like, I think it's really similar.
Yeah, I think it's really similar. I think it'd be, if you were to work with a company like Barstool and not take the time to learn the ins and outs of how your company works, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you take advantage of like this crash course on business, which Will has done a much better job than I have, but just watching, like, I think the whole point is like, how do you get your own small business, Bussin With The Boys, to a place where it can be sustainable on its own? And I think that if any other company is doing that under an umbrella of something like Barstool isn't doing that. It's like kind of like, why?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that there's very few companies that are as open as we are to that concept, right? Like that's what makes Barstool so special. You have done a great job. I think you've done an excellent job.
Yeah, the kids really picked it up.
He's pretty great.
Because I've said this a whole bunch of times, especially on the Ryan Whitney podcast too, is like, this bus wouldn't be what it is without him. Like Will,
make sure that's on the trailer.
No, but don't do that. It's on every fucking trailer.
I'll just joke.
Yeah, but there was like Will knew his transition was coming, and picked the perfect time.
He was on it
to get into it and start learning. So I take notes all the time from the boy.
But I even think it's true for people who work at Barstool, right? Like there's a ton of people at Barstool who don't take advantage of it,
which is wild because it's like the guy Trent when we first went in there the first time, big Bachelor guy. And he walks in now. He's doing the luggage thing, and now he's got 200,000 followers on Twitter. It's like you can have your own thing now. You can literally make your own tiny business through that. Like you need to make sure you're doing everything you can. He's just one example.
Yep.
And I mean, all those people in there, you can't just be like the whole goal is not to be a pawn in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
It's like how do you turn yourself into a queen?
Yeah, that's right. How do you feel like sometimes I struggle in like. When you're on the field and there's stuff you don't want to talk about and there's shit that shouldn't go on the air, but you have this, how do you balance the two?
Well, it really depends on the person. Like for me with football, I just have a general rule of keep everything more vanilla. Like there's no reason for me. I have my own outlet to say what I want. So to the basic media, when I go and talk on a weekly basis, it's say the basic things, don't give the other team bulletin board material and move on to Sunday. Yeah. That's kind of all you really need to do. Here,
Bill Belichick.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, to an extent. Obviously, I put a little more flavor in it because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
But I never say anything like, oh, we're going to fuck this team up or this guy's trash. Yeah. Like it's just stupid to do that. When it comes to this, it's like you can kind of say whatever you want. I have rules. I follow rules that Mike Vrabel, our head coach, has kind of put in place. Like, don't talk about injuries. Don't talk about guys. Compare guys, don't talk about scheme, and then kind of speak for yourself. Don't speak for anybody else.
Those are good rules.
Those are his rules as far as like when you go to talk to the media in general on the team. So I figure it's smart for me to do that here too.
You mean like playing schemes?
Schemes, plays, what defenses are doing, what we do, what we like to lean on. Because it's like, why would you give anything up that another team can look at and be, all right, we play the Titans in October. Yeah, make sure we have that down. Yeah. So it's not very difficult to navigate that part. The hard part for me to navigate is doing this during the season.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because like on a win, everything's great. People love you, think it's amazing. You lose, everyone's like, this fucking guy in this podcast.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit. All he cares about is...
In the locker room or outside the locker room?
No, I think the locker room, people have become fans.
Yeah.
Like when I'm playing football games, guys will come up to me during games, timeouts, and be like, hey, get me on the bus.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I'll give them that, well, maybe, we'll see.
Yeah.
Kind of shrug them off a little bit.
Tell them how you interview them. Tell me your best story.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you guys like this clip. If you want to continue to be for the boys, you need to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, and check out our playlist. We have all the links right here on the screen. As always, biggest of hugs and tiniest of kisses. Also, go check out the full episodes, but always for the boys.